Just talk to us a little bit about, well, what's having to put the brakes on here?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me as always. So this is the latest incarnation of the status of Apple's long-awaited mixed reality headset. They wanted to get it out the door in about this time last year. They pushed it back to the end of last year, then to January of this year, then to April of this year. Now it's being postponed yet again to early June at the annual Worldwide Developers Conference, right? That's WWDC. This makes a lot of sense. This is Apple's big showcase every early summer, late spring, where they introduce their next platforms, their next software updates for all their devices. So it makes sense to showcase this device there too.
I get that. I get the marketing decision, but was that what drove it, according to our sources? Did they basically say, you know what, let's wait for the big splash? Or in looking at the products, was it just that there were issues, it wasn't ready? What have you found out?
I'm sure it was a blend of both. Obviously, Apple's a very marketing and PR-driven company, so I'm sure that had a big role to play in it. But this was mostly an engineering-based decision. There were quite a few issues related to both hardware and software on the device, and maybe a little bit attributed to production as well. So it made sense to push it back, keep it in the oven for a couple more months, and really have that introduction down correctly, and have that gap in between when the product is introduced and released. Really stay in that initial time frame, right? Because if they introduced it in April, you know, they probably would have to push back the release by a couple months as well, because there were still quite a few snags to work through.
Pivoting from hardware to services, you had another story 24 hours ago about Apple's strategy when it comes to buy now, pay later. And it's changing how it makes decisions on basically lending to the consumer. What have you found out?
So this is actually quite interesting. So Apple will be doing lending for the first time. They'll be actually giving out these loans up to about $1,000 for buy now, pay later. This would be very similar to what Affirm and Klarna and some of the other providers do. And so what Apple will be doing is they'll be using all that data and that history they have on individual customers to make those decisions, to decide how much they want to loan a person. Maybe, you know, they look at your Apple Pay, right? How many cards you have on Apple Pay? Were you approved or denied for an Apple Card? How many apps do you buy on the App Store? How much have you spent and then paid off in devices in the past?